Hey, Mr. G,
Yes, ma'am.
uh, I gotta log into my Schoolology thing, don't I?
Yes, you should always log into Schoology. Yep.
Okay, I'm about to do it now. Okay.
Okay, so hopefully you guys are still trying this question here. It says Brianna wants to throw an informal party for herself and 17 guests. She wants to serve a large espresso and a butter croissant to each attendee, including herself. As luck would have it, the shop is having a special. For every two croissants purchased, the third is free. How much change will Brianna get back for a $100 bill? So try to calculate that and put your answer on the Schoology page in the discussion for the GED decimal question warm up. 2 more minutes.
Mr. G,
Yes, ma'am.
hi.
Hi, how's it going?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Check.
I can hear you now, but at first I couldn't hear.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm here. And I can hear
Okay.
you. So just make sure you're logged into Schoology and in the course page. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're in the warm up. We're doing the warm up right now. Right, go ahead, put your answers in, put your answers in. I want to go over it. So this question is from an old GED test. So this is a question that was asked on the GED. It is relatively straightforward. You just have to make sure that you're following all the steps.
Mr. G,
Yes,
is
ma'am.
this due now or after the class?
Right now. We're doing it right now. Yeah.
But I can't see it. This thing right here. I can't see the whole thing because this. Yeah, I can see it now.
Oh, but yeah, it should be on your page though. If you log into Schoology, that might be easier than doing
Oh,
it on
okay.
my page. Yeah, try logging
I
into
can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, try logging into Schoology, see if you can see it there. I'm just showing it on my screen so we can go over it together.
Okay.
Yeah, try doing it on your
Okay.
screen. Let's see if it works there.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, good. All right, 2017. All right, so I'm gonna read it again. So Brianna wants to throw an informal party for herself.
Just Mr. G,
Yep.
I'm going
Yep.
from one screen to the other because my son.
No worries, no worries. I'm with you.
Sure.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
All right, so Brianna wants to throw an informal party for, sorry, let me just, informal party for herself and 17 guests. She wants to serve a large espresso and a butter croissant to each attendee, including herself. So how many people is she serving? That's the first question I need to ask you. How many people is she serving? It says she's gonna be providing this party for herself and 17 guests. So how many people is she serving?
18.
Great. So she will be serving 18 people, okay? As luck would have it, the shop is running a special. For every 2 croissants purchased, the third is free. So how many croissants is she gonna get for free?
9.
How many?
9.
She's gonna get 9 for free? How many is she ordering? She's ordering 18, right?
You're getting 6 for free.
She's gonna get 6 for free. Correct, she's gonna get 6 for free. So you have the price of a large espresso, which is $3.29. You need to multiply that by 18. And then you have the price of a butter croissant for $2.29. You need to multiply that by 12. And you need to add those 2 numbers together and then subtract them from 100. So that's going to give you your answer. All right, so let me go ahead and write this out on here for you all. I see that some people already put their answers in, which is great. All right, so again, there are 18 people who are attending this party, including Brianna. All right, so she has a total of 18 people, and all 18 are gonna get a large espresso. So we have to do 18 times $3 and 29 cents. Okay. We're also all 18 gonna get butter croissants, but the shop is running a special. So every time you buy 2, you get a third one free. That means if you take the 18, you need to divide it by 3, and 18 divided by 3 gives you 6. So 6 is the number that they are gonna get that she's gonna get for free. So she's gonna get 6 for free. So 18 minus 6 is gonna give me 12. So I only need to pay the price of 12 croissants. So I need to take the 229 and multiply it by 12. I need to multiply those two numbers and then add them together. So when I do 18 times 329, to be quick, I'm just gonna use my calculator and I'm gonna get 59.22. When I do 12 times 229, I'm gonna get 27.48. When I add those two numbers together, I'm going to get 86.70. So that's how much it's gonna cost her in total to treat all of her party guests, right? So it's gonna cost her $86.70. But she's gonna pay with a $100 bill. So now we need to subtract that total from the $100. And that's gonna leave us with $13.30. Okay, so that's how much change she's gonna get back. So it should be $13.30. So what do you think we're gonna be talking about today in class?
Decimal.
Decimals, right? So decimals are really essential and a really essential topic that you really need to know well for your GED test, right? In this question, we use multiplication, addition, and subtraction of decimals, okay? And when we do any of those steps incorrectly with how we function with decimals, we might end up with the wrong answer. So we're just gonna do a quick review of decimals. I'm sure all of you have seen and worked with decimals before, but there's still some issues that are happening with decimals, especially with identifying place value and different things like that. So I wanna make sure that we are very clear about how decimals work and what we need to do with them. So that's what we're gonna do today, and this week we're gonna be working on decimals, okay? All right, so that was the warm-up activity for today. Any questions about that warm-up?
No.
Okay, great. Where am I drawing? Okay. So in your Math Skills 5 course, under week 1, you have your warm-up, and then you will eventually, this is where I'm going to post the lesson videos under this lesson video tab. So this recording of this class will be posted there. You should have your decimals review notes open. Your notes are what we're going to be working on right now. I'm going to go over those notes with you and help you to fill them out and then answer any questions you might have about them. And then you guys have 3 practices that are due by Friday, as well as your exit ticket, right? So by Friday at 5 p.m., this is the work that you guys have to do. You have now until Friday to complete it. We will also have another class on Wednesday, so you guys can feel free to ask me questions on Wednesday as well. But we're gonna go over your notes now, so make sure you have your notes open. The best way to do that is to click here on the thing that says notes, wait for it to load, and then click open assignment with Kami, because that will open it in your Kami extension, which will allow you to mark up directly onto the PDF and save it wherever you leave off, so you don't have to worry about finding it later or looking for it somewhere else on your computer or anything like that. So this is why you should really open it in Kami. Okay. All right. I'm going to change my view a little bit so I can pull this up a little bit bigger. Okay. All right, so here we are in our notes for understanding decimals. So who can tell me in general what a decimal is? What is a decimal?
A decimal is any number who got a comma.
Okay, yes. So yes, internationally, any number that has a comma is a decimal, right? Here in the US, we use a dot or a period to indicate a decimal. And we use commas to indicate thousands and millions. But yes, that's correct. Yeah, anytime you have this symbol here, which is a dot or a period in a number, that's a decimal. And we use it to indicate a place value that is less than a whole one, right? So anything after this decimal is less than a whole one. It's part of one. So it's a part of a number, right? So a decimal is a part of a whole, okay? Is there another thing in math that represents a part of a whole? Is there another way for me to represent a part of a whole besides decimals?
Okay, can you repeat?
Is there another way for me in math to represent a part of a whole? So decimals represent a part of a whole. Is there another way for me to represent a part of a whole? So something that's not a whole number, but only part of a whole number?
A fraction?
Fraction, right? Which is what we have right here, right? Fractions also represent a part of a whole, okay? So here we have examples of decimals and as well as their fractions and also how to read them, right? So this is 3.1 or 3 and 1/10. We read it like the fraction, right? 3 and 1/10. And then we have 3.01, which is also the same as 3 and 1/100. And of course, it keeps going, right? 3 and 1,000, 3 and 10,000, right? This is a question that was very similar to what you had in your pre-assessment. I just wanted to indicate, of course, that answer was incorrect, right? If it showed up automatically for you, I just wanted you to know that that answer was incorrect in the system. The third number after your decimal is your 1,000th place, right? Your 100th place is the second decimal after the decimal, okay? So the 1,000. So I went back and I corrected that for anybody who got that wrong. Okay. All right, so those are our decimal places and our decimal place values. All right, we're gonna
G,
yes.
I was looking for the raise your hand thing, but I can't see it. I don't know where it's at.
Oh, it's you have to click participants to see the raise your hand.
That's what I did.
All right, so you click participants and then you click.
I was saying the
more.
fraction represents a whole number, right?
Yeah, so a fraction is a part of a whole.
A part of a whole.
Yeah, and that's what it says right here, right? Decimals like fractions show a part of something. So it's in your
Okay,
notes.
I did.
All right.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. All right. So we're going to practice trying to write decimals according to their place value. Okay. So for instance, in this example, it says 7/10. So how do we write 7/10? Well, we put the 7 right after the decimal place, and that's how we get 7/10. If we do 11 and 9/100, it would be 11, then a decimal, then 0, 9. So how would we write this number here, 6 and 9/10? What would that look like? 6 and 9/10.
6 over 10.
No.
6 and 9. 6 over 9.
It'd be the first, and then the
6 and 9 over 10.
So 6, we want to write it as a decimal, not as a fraction. So we're going to do
0.9.
0.9.
Then 9.
Okay. What about 10 and 8/10?
10.8.
Very good. 10.8. All right. and 15 and 1500s.
15.
15.
15 point.
15.
Yep,
Yeah.
15.15.
Uh-huh.
27 and 5,000s.
27 and 5.
5,000.
27.5 thousand.
5,000. Where's the 5? Where's the 1,000 place?
Yeah, I
005.
can't see because the thing right there.
Very good. 27.005. You can move that. You can grab it and move it to the
Oh,
bottom.
I can move it?
Mhm.
Oh, I thought that was on yours. See, I don't be doing all that stuff on my son thing.
You got to grab it and move it if you want, if it's in your way.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's 27.005. So 5,000, remember the 5 needs to be in the thousands place.
Right. Okay. He said it. What's his name? Juice. He said it. Juice.
All right, 1 and 300s.
1.300.
1.03.
Oh, zero.
You want to put the
Okay.
3 in the
3
place that it's
right there.
calling
Okay.
out, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And then the last one, 150 and 19 10,000s.
Okay, so it'll be 115.019.
Uh-huh. Point
No,
oh,
10. Wait,
oh,
0019.
19. 150.0019. Because that 9 needs to be in the 10,000s place, which is 4th decimal place. 4th decimal place. All right, so make sure you guys are writing that down and keeping these notes for yourself. These notes are going to be very important for you to hold on to. Okay. I'm going to scroll down to rounding. So we're going to use the same idea that we have with our place value to understand rounding. All right, so in order to round, you have to determine the place the number is to be rounded to, and that is usually indicated by circling it or underlining it. That's the best way to do it. If the digit is to the right of the number is less than 5, we're going to replace it and all the numbers to the right of it with zeros. But if the digit to the right of the underlined number is more than 5, you're going to increase, right? So if it's less than 5, you keep it the same, the number the same, or if it's more than 5, you go up 1, right? So that's how we round. And I have all the place values again are listed here, just so we have a good memory of what those look like. I'm going to scroll down and we're going to do a couple, we're going to look at this example. So the first example says to round 2.832 or 2 and 832 thousandths to the nearest hundredth. So what number is in the hundredth place?
The 3.
Very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that 3 by underlining, right, which is already shown. The 3 is underlined, right? And now I have to look to the number to the right of the 3. What is the number to the right of the 3? It is a 2, right? So it is less than 5. So that means I should turn that number into a 0 or cut it off completely, right? Which is what I have here. I put it into a 0, or I just cut that 0 off so I can round it to 2.83. Okay. Again, in the next example, it's going to be the same situation. We're always going to go to that place and then round after that place. So we're going to round 43 and 5,648 10,000ths to the nearest thousands. What number is in the thousands place?
The 5.
Thousands.
No,
the 4 is in the thousands place. right? So that's why it's underlined, because the 4 is in the thousands place. And the number after 4 is an 8. So what's going to happen to that 4? It's going to become a 5.
5.
Okay, and that's how I rounded that number off. All right. So that's really all there is to rounding. Let me give you guys an example. Let's see if we can do it. All right, so my number is going to be, let's see. All right, I need you to round this number to the nearest 10th. What would that number be rounded to the nearest 10th?
7.3.
Perfect. Okay, what if I rounded this same number to the nearest 1?
It'll just be 7.
Perfect. Okay, so if I rounded it to the nearest 10th, that would be the 2. After the 2, I have a 9, so that goes up to 7.3. We round it to the nearest 1, which is a 7. The number after that 7 is a 2, so we just keep it at 7. All right, questions on rounding and place value? Pretty straightforward, right? Okay. Let's get into the real meat of it, our adding and subtracting of decimals. All right. What is the one rule you always need to remember when adding and subtracting decimals? Who can tell me? What do I need to do when adding and subtracting decimals? Just one thing you have to
Make
remember.
sure
What
all your numbers are
Decimal is in the right, the decimal is in the right place.
Yeah,
is,
make
okay.
Line it up by the decimal.
Right. Line up your decimals. I cannot stress it enough, right? You will not believe how many people will do super advanced math and then look at this example here, 7 plus 0.03, and then tell me the answer is 10.
Yes.
I will get so upset if you do that. If you're just rushing along and you're like, oh, 7 and 3 is 10. No. Don't tell me you guys are doing all this great math and then you let that screw you up, right? So always make sure you line up your decimals, all right? So if there is no decimal in the number, that means the decimal goes at the end of the number. In the case of the 7, you line it up and you just add, right? It's very straightforward, but you have to line it up correctly. So always make sure you line up your decimal points and put your decimal points where they need to go, right? Any whole number goes to the left of a decimal point, and you may add anything in any decimal row, right? Or column, actually, I should say. Okay. If your answer ends in a 0, you can eliminate that 0 after the decimal, right? Any zeros after the decimal that are not followed by any numbers, you don't need to include them, okay? All right, so these are examples of addition, and then it goes on to subtraction, all right? And then here, we have an example where the 0 comes at the end, right? It says 33.0. I do not need to include that 0, and I shouldn't be looking for that 0 in my multiple choice answer because 33.0 is the same as just 33, okay? Of course, a lot of you will have to rewrite them before you can start working on them, but understand that when you rewrite them, you're taking up time to rewrite them. Because if you're doing adding and subtracting of decimals on the GED test, I guarantee you it'll be in the non-calculator section, right? So you can't just put it in your calculator. You're gonna have to line it up or do it in your head lined up correctly. Okay, we're gonna do a few examples later. I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand that you have to line them up. Okay, So when we are adding and subtraction, they have to be lined up. When we're multiplying decimals, forget everything you learned about adding and subtracting. Do not line up your decimals. Let me repeat. When you are multiplying decimals, do not line up your decimals, okay? A lot of people get very thrown off when they're multiplying decimals because what they want to do is what they've done with addition and subtraction. And the first thing they want to do is line those decimals up. That will confuse you. You need to pretend like those decimals are not there, right? So one suggestion is just to count the decimal places before you begin multiplying, and then remove the decimal altogether and just multiply as normal. And just remember, I have a note off to the side to tell you how many decimal places you have in the problem, okay? That's one suggestion, if one choice if you want to do it that way, but never line up your decimals when multiplying, okay? Never line them up. All right, so if I have a multiplication problem, what I need to do is line up the last numbers, right? Not the decimal. I just have to line up the last numbers. So I have a 5 and a 1. Those are what should be lined up. And as you can see, when I rewrite the problem here, it is lined up, okay? And that's what you need to do when you're multiplying decimals. You just need to line up the last two numbers and the numbers that you're multiplying together.
And then you count the numbers. That's where you put your decimal at. Count
Correct.
the numbers.
After you've done the
After
whole
you did
multiplication problem, you put your decimal back into your answer by counting the decimal places. So I have
That's
three
3.
decimal places, right? So
Put
at the
three
end
more
with my 81,375, I have to count 1, 2, 3, and that's when I put my decimal in, right? Yeah, so those are my steps. I multiply, I count the number of decimal places in the problem, and then I put the decimal in where it goes, okay? So you never need to line up your decimals when multiplying them, only when adding and subtracting them. This is a big, really big, important thing to remember. It seems silly, but I will see people all the time who know better struggle with lining up their decimals. And they're like, my answer isn't right. I'm like, well, why are your decimals lined up? That's the first question I'm gonna ask, okay? All right, so I think we have a couple of examples to do, make sure. Yes. All right, so let's work on these problems here. All right, so we're gonna do the first few together, and I'm gonna assign a couple to each of you, since there's a few of you in the room. Each of you can get a few problems. So what is 6 times 0.3?
1.8.
Good, it's 1.8, right? Because it's just 6 times 3, which is 18. And then I have to put my 1 decimal place in, okay? That's how I get 1.8. All right, what's 0.25 times 7? If I have 7 quarters, how much money do I have?
1.75.
Very good. I have $1.75 if I have 7 quarters.
7 quarters.
Yep. Okay. What is 0.031 times 9?
0.279.
Very good. Okay. So let me double check to see how many people. Okay, so we have 4 students and we have 9 problems left. So I'll just do 2 problems per student. How about that? So numbers 4 and 5 are going to be for Jules. 6 and 7 for Antoinette. 8 and 9 for Tichelle. And 10 and 11 for, is it Ladaise? Is that correct? Is that how you say it? I'm sorry?
LaDeja.
LaDeja. Okay, great. LaDeja. All right. LaDeja gets 10 and 11.
Said I got 6 and 7, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to do your problems, and then I'll start going over the answers with you all. Don't use a calculator. Use your braids. Write it down. Use the original calculator.
I know the last ones.
And if you finish early, do number 12 as well.
Times 5, 6. A 6. Most part doesn't know that.
All right, Jules, what's the answer for number 4?
Okay, about the number 4, 75 times 0.45.
Uh-huh.
I got 33.75.
Very good. All right, and your next one, number 5?
The next one, I got 0.846.
Okay, very good. All right, and Antoinette, you're up next.
Okay, I tried. For number 6, I have 40.24.
Very good.
Okay, I put the
second.
zero. I put the zero between the. I put the point between 0 and 2.
That's correct. Yep.
Oh, okay. And now this one I'm not sure it's right, but for number 7, I got 92.54. Did I do that right?
So how many decimal places do you have?
On the first number is 2.
And on the last number is?
It's in the middle, so I guess that's 1.
So that's 3 decimal places. That means you have to move over 3 decimal places in your answer.
So it go in front of the 9.
It goes behind the 9.
Oh,
So it should be
okay.
9.254.
See,
Right?
so
So when
you have to count how many
decimal places
spots?
you have. Yes.
Okay.
Right. And then once you have it, right? So I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you got to count how many numbers
You have to count-
behind the decimal.
Yeah. So count how many decimal
Oh.
places you have. So when I add it up, I'm going to get the 4, 5, 12, 1.
12.
So I get
3.
92.54, right? But then how many decimal places do I have? I have 1, 2,
1,
3
2, 3.
So I
1,
have to
2,
count it.
3.
1,
9.254.
3. So I get 9.25. Okay?
Oh, okay.
That's how that works. All right. Tashawn, you next.
Okay. 20.88.
You got 20.88.
Yes.
Good. And
And my next one is 39.06.
very good.
And number 12 is 0.3136.
0.3136.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. All right. And LaDeja.
Number 10 is 141.5414.
Very good. All right. And number 11.
0.23408.
Okay. Very good. All right. So again, the main point of working through these problems and learning how to multiply with decimals is to remember to multiply normally like the decimal isn't there, and then count the number of decimal places in your problem. That's how many times you need to move over from the right to the left to put your decimal in, okay? That's how we're doing our multiplication of decimals. And it's relatively straightforward. Just remember, you don't need to line up your decimals or your place values at all. Just line up the last number in each number that you're each factor that you're multiplying together. Okay. Questions about the multiplication? All right. Now we got to divide, y'all. Oh Lord.
That's the hard one.
Yes, it is the hard one. Okay, so
I'll get my calculator.
no calculator.
Ah, Mr. G. Need my calculator for division.
Because you are probably going to have to divide decimals without a calculator on your test. So it's good to just get the practice in, okay? All right, so when we are dividing decimals, there is a different rule depending on where the decimal is. If your decimal is in your divisor, meaning the number that you are dividing by, you have to remove it before you can divide. If your decimal is in your dividend, which means the number that you are dividing, it's okay, it can stay there. It just needs to automatically move up in that exact same place into your answer. All right, so we're gonna go over those different examples of how to do that. And then we're gonna just do a little bit of practice with dividing our decimals. Okay, so there are some steps here. These steps are good for you guys to review and go over if you need the help to think about what those steps need to be. But I think we should just look at the examples and follow those steps, because that example, follow those steps, because that's going to be a little bit more helpful to you in general. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to try. Okay. So we have our example number 1 here. Move it up a little bit. So in example number 1, we only have a decimal in our dividend. The dividend is the number inside the box, or the number that is being divided, right? This is our dividend. So we have 3.5. So there's a decimal in that number already. We don't need to change anything about that number. It's fine the way that it is because it's in the dividend, right? We just have to, we would have to change things if there was a decimal in the divisor, but there isn't, so we're good. All we need to do then is make sure that we take the decimal that's in the divisor and make sure we put it into our answer, which is what they did here in step 3. Okay, if there's a decimal in our dividend, we put it into our answer. And now we can divide as normal. So we divide by thinking about how many times does 4 go into 35, right? It goes 8 times, blah, 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 blah. We do all the math and we get 0.875. Notice that decimal has to stay there, okay? All right, when we have an example though, where the decimal is in the divisor and not just in the dividend, now we have an issue. We have to remove any decimal that is in your divisor. So here in example number 2, before I can start dividing, I need to move this decimal all the way to the right of this number. I have to make it into a whole number by moving the decimal out. So I have to move the decimal out two places to get it all the way to the right, right? Whatever I do outside of the box or to my divisor, I have to do inside of the box or to my dividend. That means I have to move this decimal out two places to the right as well. So my problem, instead of being 0.80 into 6.48, becomes this: 80 into 648, with a decimal here at the end of the number. But now that I've done that, I can start dividing as normal. Okay? So if the decimal is in the dividend, it's okay. I just need to move it up for my answer, like I do up here in this example. But if my decimal is in my divisor, I have to move it out. I have to go as many places I need to go to the right to get the decimal out. Whatever I do on the outside, I have to repeat on the inside, right? It says, do the same inside the box, right? Of course, you always have to do step number 3, which is transfer the decimal to the answer space and then divide as normal. Are we ready to try it? Do you think we can try dividing? Well, we're gonna try it anyway. Let me skip this for a second. I do want to go straight to a division example. All right, we're gonna go to a couple of examples right here at the bottom of this page, and then we're gonna go back and review what we just skipped over. I wanna do a couple of division examples. Let's try.
I'm nervous.
You know, I will just do my own division example. How about that? All right. I'm going to do a new share. Just the whiteboard. Okay. So let's start with this example here. So we have 72.9 divided by 3. Okay, so how do I set that up?
Oh my Lord. You put your 3 on the outside.
I'm sorry?
Right. You put your 3 on the outside, right?
Okay, 3 on the outside. And then what?
Okay. And then you put your the larger number in inside.
Okay. Now what?
Oh Lord. I thought that was it. Oh, okay.
What do you mean that was it? I haven't done anything. I just set it up. Now what?
Do you move your decimal or something?
I have to bring my decimal into the answer.
Up top. Okay, move it up top. Okay.
I didn't move it. I just brought it into the answer, right? Because it has to match. These decimals have to match.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Now, am I ready to divide now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now I can divide normally. Okay. So 3 goes into 7 2 times, right? 3 times 2 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. I bring my 2 down. How many times does 3 go into 12?
2, 4.
4 times.
4.
Good. All right. And then 4 times 3 is 12. So that
12.
leaves me with nothing. I just bring the 9 down. How many times does 3 go into 9?
3.
3 times. Okay. So my answer is 24.3. Okay. So 72.9 divided by 3 is equal to 24.3.
So it's just like dividing. Only difference is against the decimal right there.
Of course. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I get it.
Okay. I am going to erase this. All right, so now what happens? Can I not change my color? Yeah, it won't let me change the color. All right, that's fine. All right. Oh, okay, it did. Let me change the color. Okay, good. So what happens when I change it to 72.9 divided by 0.3? Now, how do I set that up?
So because you can't have a decimal point in the on the outside, you
Uh-huh.
gotta move the decimal to the right to make
Okay.
it 3. And then you have to do the same thing on the inside. So you move the decimal to the right of the 9, and you
Perfect,
get
right?
17.
Whatever I do to my divisor, I have to do to my dividend, right? So now that I've moved the decimal out, I'm ready to set up my division problem, right? I started off with decimals in both my dividend and my divisor, right? But because I cannot have a decimal in my divisor, I had to move it out. Whatever I do to my divisor, I have to do my dividend. And now look, there are no decimals in my problem. Okay, so then my answer is going to be 243. So 72.9 divided by 0.3 is equal to 243. All right. One more example. Use my eraser again. What happens if I start off without a decimal in my dividend, but I do have a decimal in my divisor? What do I do now? I'll go ahead and set it up for you. Right, but I can't divide because there's a decimal here. So what do I need to do?
Move it out, right?
Okay, I gotta go one place to the right. But there's no decimal here, so what do I do?
Add
Get rid of
zero.
it, right?
One more time, Jules, what do I do?
You have to add the 0.
Good. So there's always a decimal in every number, even if I don't write it. So if I don't see it, it has to be after the last number. So it's here. So if I move my decimal to the right one time on the inside as well, that means what I'm doing is I'm adding a 0. So it now becomes 3 into 7,290. So 729 divided by 0.3 is going to give me 2,430. And I use the same numbers just so you guys can see how it progresses, okay? I want you guys to just see that it's really important that you are learning how to move those decimals out, because whenever you have to divide by decimals by hand, you're going to have to do these steps. You're not always going to have the permission to use a calculator on your text. All right, questions about these examples? All right, we're gonna go back to our note sheet and try to finish that up. We have about half hour left of class. All right, so let's go to the shortcut. All right, so there are shortcuts in multiplying and dividing decimals if I'm dealing with anything that is a multiple of 10. So what is a multiple of 10? What does that mean? A multiple of 10.
It equals up to 10.
It equals up to 10, okay? Or it's a number that looks like 10, right? It just has extra zeros on it. So
Mhm.
10, 100, 1,000, right? Those numbers are really easy to multiply and divide by, okay? So if I have a decimal and I'm asked to multiply by 10, that's just moving the decimal one place to the right. That's what our notes say right here, right? If it says to multiply by 10, what it's really just asking me to do is to move the decimal place one time to the right, okay? So anytime you multiply by 10, you're moving the decimal one time to the right. If you're multiplying by 100, you're moving the decimal place two places to the right. Okay, you're just moving it twice to the right. So 0.137 becomes 13.7 when you multiply by 100. What do you think happens when I divide by 10 and divide by 100?
Can you repeat?
What happens when I divide by 10 or divide by 100? What happens to my decimal number?
When you divide by 10 or by 100, you have to, by 10, you have to move the point on your left.
Very good. So
One
if
time,
you're dividing by 10 or 100, as Jules said, I just move my decimal to the left, right? If I'm multiplying, I move it to the right. If I'm dividing, I move to the left. So when I divide by 10, I move it one space to the left. And when I divide by 100, I move it two places to the left. All right, so that's your shortcut for multiplying and dividing decimals. That's the shortcut here on this page, okay? So we're gonna use that shortcut to solve and work through these problems here. So what is 3.7 times 10?
37.
370.
37, one place to the right.
Oh,
It's
right.
two places when it's 100. So it's just 37, not 370, almost, okay? What's 0.654 times 10?
6.54.
Good. And then 47.31 times 10.
473.1.
473.1.
Perfect. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing here that we did before. We're gonna divide all of these up. And so I have, great, perfect. So we're gonna do 3 per person. No, that doesn't work because there's not 5 people because I'm including myself. So we'll do 3. Yeah, we'll still do 3 per person. That's fine. Okay, so 16, 17, and 18 are for Antoinette. 19, 20, and 21 will be for Tashelle. 22, 23, and 24 for LaDeja. And 25, 26, and 27 for Jules. All right, you guys are not going to need a lot of time to do those, but I'll give you about 2 minutes. Yes, I can do some too.
Can I start?
All right, about 30 more seconds to wrap up your problems. We're going to go over the answers.
You said when you divide, you swing the decimal point to the left.
To the left, right, instead of to the right. Exactly. All right, Antoinette, what's number 16?
With number 7. Oh, I didn't even finish up to, but I got 1.58. Is that right?
So it's multiplying by 100. So all you have to do is move the decimal 2 places to the right.
Oh,
You just
okay.
move the decimal 2 places to the right. What number do you have?
I have 58.
That's it. Good.
Oh, and the other two, I'm working on those. I was going to ask you, can I write those upside down?
Can you what?
Write them upside down.
What do you mean?
Like the way I normally do it when it's like problems like this. I put the larger number on top and I put the smaller number at the bottom.
But it doesn't matter because all you're doing is moving the decimal place, right? Because you're multiplying it by 100, right? So you don't have to write it out. You're just going to move the decimal 2 places to the right,
Okay.
right?
So
We're
it'll
trying to
be
learn the shortcut.
so it'll be 698 point.
No, you're moving it 2 places to the right.
So it'd be 69.83. Right.
No, 2 places to the right. So that's 1 place.
One.
You
Okay.
have to move it
Gotcha.
1 more time. You have to add a 0.
Oh, okay. All right. Got you.
So it's going to be 69,830. Okay, so what about
Okay.
number 18?
Let me see. I'm writing now. Oh, okay. I got is it 92.37?
So you got to move the decimal 2 places to the right.
Okay. So is it hold on. Is it 923.7?
Yes, 923.7.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, all right. So to show you have thousands, so you're going 3 places to the right. What do you have for number 19? Uh-oh. Did I lose to show?
I think
All right.
she went to help her
Okay. All right.
because
So
he didn't
let's do this one together. What's 1,000 times 1.645? You got to go 3 places to the right. So it's gonna be what?
1654.
Good. So it's just 1,654. The next one, sorry, I can't see it. Okay, the next one, again, I'm just moving it 3 places to the right because it's 1,000 this time. So I go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get 448.7. 448.7. Okay, again, 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3. It's going to get 1,230. All right. Okay, so next up is LaDeja. We're dividing this time, so you're going to go to the left.
Okay, so the first one is 1.65.
Very good.
The next one is 0.83.
Perfect.
83.
Mhm.
And 0.092.
Perfect. All right, very good. All right, and now Jules, you're going to go 2 places to the left because you're dividing by 100.
0.39.
Very good. 0.39. Good.
9.75
Very good.
and 0.092. 0.075.
Very good. 0.075. Perfect. Okay, so this is the shortcut. So the shortcut, whenever we're multiplying by multiples of 10, so 10, 100, 1,000, we're doing it by 10, we just go one place to the right, we're multiplying. We're multiplying by 100, 2 places to the right. We're multiplying by 1,000, 3 places to the right. And then we do the reverse for division. So if we're dividing by 10, we go to the left by 1. We're dividing by 100, we go to the left by 2. And if we're dividing by 1,000, we go to the left by 3. So that's how we do it with our decimals. We're just moving the decimal. That way we don't have to write out the whole problem and multiply it. We just move the decimal. That's the quick way to do that multiplication and division. So I did 28, 29, and 30. And all I did was, because I'm dividing by 1,000, I moved my decimal place 3 places to the left. So I got 0.00273, 0.0516, and then 0.091. All right, so it's a good thing to just keep in mind this quicker way to do that division so that you guys can get this work done that much faster. Okay, all right. So here is the practice before we go. I'm gonna really put you guys to work now. We're gonna use this practice to see what we've learned today. Okay, so we're gonna solve the problems following the rules for the order of operations. So where am I gonna start with number 1? What should I do first?
Multiply first.
Multiplication.
The multiplication.
Yeah, let's do the multiplication first. I'm gonna do 12.2 times 9.4. What is that? What's 12.2 times 9.4? What did you guys get?
114.68.
68.
Very good. Okay. What do I do next?
Divide.
Good. I need to
1.
divide 1.6 by 0.08. So what's 1.6 divided by 0.08?
It's 2.
Oh, 0.8, excuse me. Not 0.08, 0.8. Yes,
It's
very good.
2.
It should just be 2. It's really just 16 divided by 8. So that's really just 2. Okay, so now I can subtract and then add. So I subtract 2.68 from 114.68. What's that going to give me?
Mhm.
114.68 minus 2.68.
112.
112 plus 2.
114.
114.
So that's my answer, 114. Okay. All right, so to wrap up, we're almost done with class. I'm going to assign a problem to each person. I'm not sure if Tashelle is back, but that's okay. We're still going to assign one to her. We're going to assign number 2 to Tashelle. All right, so that means number 3 is going to be for LaDeja.
Okay.
4 for Jules, and 5 for Antoinette. All right, I'm gonna give you guys, again, just a couple minutes to try each of your problems, and then we're gonna go over the answers.
And Mr. G, when they say in the little explanation mark, but it say 0.5, what's the 2 mean?
What's the 2 mean? The 2 is an exponent. So it means squared. That means you need to multiply 0.5 by itself.
Oh, okay, got it. You said multiply by itself.
So 0.5 times 0.5.
Oh, okay. I think I'm doing this wrong. Okay.
Okay. All right, the Deja, do you have an answer for us for number 2? Oh no, Deja's not doing number 2. Tashawa's in number 2. I know Tashawa's not here. So let's go through number 2 together. We're gonna do 0.4 times 0.4 because it's 0.4 squared. All right. So we're just gonna get 4 times 4, which is 16. We have 2 decimal places, so it's actually 0.16. Okay, so we're going to do 9.6 plus 3.6, which is going to give us 13.2 minus 0.16. That's going to give us 13.04. That's the answer for number 2. Okay, Ladisha.
Okay, so I did the inside the parentheses and I got 5.00, so 5. And then I divided that by 0.25, but I had to move the decimal point. So to
Mhm.
make it 25, I had to make that 5 into 500. And
Okay,
I got 20. And 20 plus 8.6 is 28.6. So the answer is 28.6.
very good. 28.6 is your answer. We just write down the steps. Here we get 5, and we divided that by 0.25 to get 20 plus 8.6, which is 28.6. Very good. All right, Jules.
The result is the first thing is I do 32.60 minus 32.002.
Uh-huh.
I got 0.40,
Very good.
and then the square of 0.14, the square of 0.14 is 0.0196.
Very good.
Now 2.24 plus 1.76.
Okay.
I got
2.24 plus 1.76.
I got something like okay, I got 4.
Very good. It's 4. Very good. So now the last step. Good.
Now I can divide.
Mm-hmm.
If I divide 0.0196 by 4,
Good.
I got 0.004.
0.0049.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, because you're going to have a leftover of, wait, 0. Maybe I did it wrong. 0.0196 divided by 4. Yeah. Yeah, 0.049. Yeah, good. Okay. And Antoinette.
Okay, now bear with me, please. All
Okay.
right. First I added,
No.
huh?
First, you have to do the exponent.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. 0.5
Times
is
0.5
0.25.
is 0.0025, right? Good. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then what I was supposed to did add, right?
Yep.
Okay. I gotta write it out now. Okay. That's 49.
What?
49. You want me to add 0.25, right? To
It's
24, right?
0.0025 plus 2.4.
Oh well, 4.9.
No.
Huh?
Remember, how do we add
What
decimals?
am
You
I
have to
missing?
line them up.
Oh,
2.4
okay.
plus 0.0025. You have to line up your decimal places, ma'am.
Okay. My bad, Mr. D. It's gonna take me a minute to catch on to.
It's okay.
So what was I supposed to go 0.49?
Okay, so we have 2.4, right?
Uh-huh.
Plus 0.0025. How do you add that
Uh-huh.
up?
Oh wait.
You
I
have
think
to,
I'm lining them up wrong.
well, how do you line them up?
I put I put the I put it between the two zeros,
Put what between the two zeros?
the decimal point, because up top it got 2.4. So I
So,
put the zeros.
so 2.4. So look at the screen. I
Uh-huh.
have it written down.
Okay.
2.4
Okay.
0.0025. That's how you line it up. So the 0 is under the 4.
Okay, so it'll be
Mm-hmm.
2.4
Uh-huh.
0025
Nope.
Those-
1 0.
or 10.
The 0, this first 0 is under the 4.
Okay.
So 4 plus 0 is 4. You just bring the 0 down, right?
Okay.
So it's 2.4025 minus
Uh-huh.
0.35.
Lord have mercy. Hold on, please. You said minus what? 0.35, right?
0.35.
0.35. Let's see. I got 2.525. Am I right, Mr. D?
That's correct. Yep.
Oh, okay. Would it be easy if I do everything without the point? Whatever
Nope.
matters.
It will not be easier because you have to add and subtract with the decimal present. I think you are missing the first fundamental lesson, right? Which is if you're adding and subtracting your decimals, you must line up your decimal. That means you put your decimals in line and then you add, right? What you did was just take these numbers 2 and 4 and then added it to 2, 5 when they don't have the same value, right? This 2 here is a whole 2. This 4 is only part of a whole, right? And so when you adding it to 0.0025, which is 1,000th of a whole, that's not the same value, right? So you can't make them have the same value and just add them together, right? You can't add 0.0025, which is less than a penny, to $2.40, right? Which is what you were trying to do. If I have $2.40 and I'm like, oh, I'll give you 0.0025, it's like I'm giving you nothing, right? But you made it seem like I was giving you a whole other $2.50. That's not how that works, right? So you have to keep those things very separate, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I worked out number 6, but we'll do it again together in class on Wednesday. We'll finish our notes on Wednesday. So we'll do 6, 7, 8, and the word problems in class on Wednesday. Go ahead and try some of the practices that are included for this week's work. And I'll see you guys again at 11 o'clock on Wednesday.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Have a good day, everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.